Welcome, Greek U Nation, to episode number 563 of the Fraternity Foodie Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Mike Ayalon, CEO of Greek University. I'm a speaker and an author. Our sixth book just came out. It's called I'm So Beautiful, It's Ridiculous: Unleashing and Promoting Strength, Self-Worth, and Real Sisterhood. So go and pick up that book on Amazon or Barnes & Noble today. We call these episodes the Fraternity Foodie Podcast because there is nothing like great food to bring college students together. Fun fact, I love having researchers on our show to share their findings, especially when it is a very topical discussion. I'm in a state of shock over what's happening in our country today when we think about violence and racism and political corruption, even mental illness. Our next guest has some really great insight into why that's happening and how we can bring empathy back to the forefront. I think about this often when I talk about things like hazing on college campuses or sexual assaults or even alcohol and drug abuse, how social media has put the spotlight on us individually instead of building a culture of care for others that are in our community. So let's talk a little bit more about this with our next guest. Ronald Goldman, PhD, is an award-winning psychologist, researcher, speaker, writer, and consultant. He specializes in developmental and applied psychology. His work is related to personal, emotional, and behavioral difficulties that often involve insensitive or harmful treatment of others. This focus improves individual and collective experiences. His research includes numerous contacts with mental health and medical professionals, parents, and children. Dr. Goldman's publications have been endorsed by many professionals in related fields. His writing has appeared in newspapers, magazines, textbooks, and journals. He has also been interviewed on various media programs, so we are very lucky to have him. Welcome to the show, Dr. Goldman.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to join you.
Thank you so much for being on the show. You've got some great insight for us, especially for all the college student listeners. So I can't wait to jump in. Now, you decided on a wonderful, wonderful university. I've spent a lot of time on that campus. It's Columbia University in the heart of Manhattan. I'm sure you had many options in terms of your undergraduate experience. So why did you decide that Columbia was the right choice for you?
I applied to 5 schools. I was accepted to all. Columbia was the only one outside my general geographic area, which is the Boston area.
Mm.
And I decided I wanted to learn about New York City, a new environment. And a major reason was I got a scholarship.
That
So
makes sense.
that made it real easy to decide.
Yeah, when they make it affordable for students, that makes the decision very easy. And that campus is just stunningly beautiful. I mean, you could be in the center of campus and not realize that you're in, the middle of Manhattan, surrounded by cars and noise and everything else. It almost feels like a park when you're on campus, and it's just lovely. It's one of my favorite campuses to walk and be a part of. And the students, of course, are incredible and very, very bright. So that is a wonderful thing. Now, you're the author of the new book. It's called The Empathy Evolution: Preventing Violence, Racism, Political Corruption, and Mental Illness by Creating More Caring People. I need to understand this. Why did you decide that you wanted to write this particular book?
I decided to write this book because empathy connects to childcare, which is not usually understood. Quality of care for children is generally ignored. In a national survey, only 1% said that childcare was an important issue. I want to share how this problem significantly reduces our quality of life and how we can prevent persistent, serious personal and social problems at their origins. I found 500 references to support this work. Also, the World Happiness Report asked people in over 140 countries to evaluate their quality of life. The United States ranked below 23 other countries. And in a United Nations report, children in the Netherlands ranked highest for sense of well-being out of 41 high-income countries. the United States ranked 36. In another report of countries on children with high life satisfaction at age 15, the United States ranked 28th. Clearly, we can and need to do better. In addition, many years ago, I had little awareness of my feelings and empathy for others. I describe in my book how this changed. My subsequent expanded empathy motivated me to help prevent the traumatic early origins of such problems in others.
Hmm. Well, that's a very good answer, and you're absolutely right too. I'm kind of shocked to see where the United States stands in some of those rankings that you're citing there. We should be doing better, and I'm happy that you wrote the book so we can address some of those issues. So let's just talk about it. Why do all of these American problems like violence, racism, political corruption, mental illness, why are they persisting here in what should be the best country in the world?
Well, these problems are related to traumas, and it's not typically understood that traumas in this country go back to as early as infancy, and American infants continue to be traumatized. Trauma is an overwhelmingly emotionally painful experience. To survive this experience, trauma involves repression and unconscious separation from awareness of the traumatic pain and anxiety. This separation from awareness has a general, lifelong effect of reducing emotional sensitivity. Less awareness of emotions results in less empathy and adverse effects on relationships. The adult lack of memory before 3 or 4 years old is often a sign of early trauma.
Okay, well, that certainly makes a lot of sense. So let's dig in here. There's many college students today that I know that are struggling with anxiety, depression, disconnection. What are some of these early life experiences that you're talking about that could be contributing to this crisis, even if the students themselves are not aware of them?
Mhm. Well, very few people are aware of their birth. And in the United States, birth is often traumatic and not natural. Obstetricians are trained to focus on physical matters, not psychological matters. As an example of what happens in American births, about 1 out of 3 births in this country are cesarean. What could be more unnatural? Uh, and let me just mention that European countries, the cesarean rate is generally less than 10%. So we're way above other Western countries around this matter. It was routine to cut the umbilical cord quickly in hospital births until 2015. Midwives who supervise births at homes will generally wait 2 to 5 minutes because there has to be a gradual transition uh, of the nutrients that are coming through the umbilical cord from the mother's body to the baby's body. Uh, so being gradual, this reduces the infant's stress. When it's suddenly cut, or when it had been suddenly cut in prior years, that was trauma-like for the infant who had to suddenly start to be independent of the mother, physically speaking. Also, some hospitals still have a neonatal nursery where they put newborn infants in plastic boxes. This trauma is ignored. And there's no evidence that hospital birth is safer than home birth. Many years ago, a French obstetrician wrote a book called Birth Without Violence. And in it, he was critical of American hospital births. And he had some wonderful photographs in there, including births born with midwives. And there they show a baby right after birth who was smiling. That is not usual for American hospital birth. In fact, it rarely ever happens. And here are some relevant studies. Infants may be angry about their unnatural birth experiences. A study showed these infants were more likely to be aggressive at age 6. In another study, aggression was stable over the first 10 years, and in another study, aggression displayed at age 8 was connected to more aggression at age 30. Clearly, the origins of aggressive behavior start as early as infancy. Significantly, in a study of preschool aggression, French children acted aggressively 1% of the time, while American children did so 29% of the time due to our traumatic cultural practices. Another important factor I want to talk about here is the mother-infant relationship. It is the primary relationship. It provides a biological and emotional foundation for future relationships of the child. A secure, loving bond between the mother and infant contributes to the child's mental and emotional health. Disruption of the mother-infant relationship is more common in the United States and often includes separation, unmet infant needs, maltreatment, and trauma. Extended non-maternal care of infants in the United States clearly disrupts the bond with the mother. When the mother-infant relationship is disrupted, the relationship between the infant and humanity is disrupted. Children then grow up traumatized and perceive themselves as separate rather than connected to others. Consequences include reduced quality of life with more emotional and behavioral problems. In another study, mothers ignored about half of crying incidents of their infants. This causes separation, unmet needs, and trauma. Another early life American experience is bottle feeding, obviously not natural. The United States ranks 81st in breastfeeding rate. Benefits of breastfeeding include improved bonding, mental and emotional development, and reduced risk of infant mortality. That's quite a lot.
Yeah, there's no question about it. You brought up some really interesting things. Certainly, some of them, the students themselves aren't really aware of them, things that happen at birth and things like that, as an example. And okay, so we have a bunch of things that are causing trauma early in life. Are there any other early life experiences that we should know about?
Uh, Unfortunately, there are. And here's a very harmful cultural practice: male infant circumcision. Few people are willing to talk about this. For the infant, it is extremely painful and traumatic. Some infants do not cry because they go into traumatic shock. No anesthetic is effective in reducing the pain of the infants. There's over 100 complications and risks, and a significant decrease in later sexual pleasure. Erectile dysfunction is more likely. And get this, no national medical organization in the world supports male infant circumcision, and 14 oppose it. Aside from Muslims, Jews, and Americans, less than 5% of the world's infants are circumcised. In the United States, after hospital birth, parents are asked, sometimes multiple times, if they want their son circumcised. Circumcised fathers also often want their sons circumcised to match. For more on circumcision, I refer you to circumcision.org, the website of a nonprofit educational organization that I founded. And here, a global study shows that countries that are most peaceful have average circumcision rates of 10%. And countries that are least peaceful have average circumcision rates of 68%. This is a significant example of the effects of early trauma on later cultural behavior. Another cultural practice: lack of body contact. all mammals seek and receive body contact. I remember reading about an infant who was taking hours to nurse when held by her mother. And the mother, after a period of time, didn't understand this and went to discuss this with a professional. And eventually, the professional mentioned, well, what about the body contact when you're not nursing? And she said she heard that the infant may be using the nursing position of being held to receive more body contact and extending the feeding time, again, taking hours to nurse. So when the mother changed her behaviors of holding her infant when the infant was not being nursed, the infant did not extend the feeding time during nursing. Another interesting example here of body contact, really amazing. Many years ago, twin girls were born prematurely in a Massachusetts hospital. And as was typical at the time, they put these girls in incubators, plastic boxes, and they separated them, which was again typical at the time. And the nurse attending to them noticed that one of the twins was in critical condition. All right. And she was getting extensive attention through different procedures and monitoring her physical characteristics, but she wasn't improving and started to deteriorate. So the nurse decided on her own, this was against hospital policy, the nurse decided to put the infant who was having a very difficult time, the nurse put that infant in the same care box as her sister. So they joined them in the same box. And this is what happened. The healthier twin put her arm around her twin sister. And that was the start of this twin sister starting to recover because she was getting body contact, even though it was just from her twin sister, premature baby, that contact helped her recover. So those are very significant examples of how body contact can be helpful. From another perspective, cross-cultural studies show that extended physical contact for infants, such as infant carrying on the mother's body all day for the first year, predicted peaceful cultures. Such contact is not common in the United States. And here's more. Most infants in other countries sleep next to the mother. In this country, we are the only country in the world that places infants in cribs in separate rooms. And I remember that. I didn't like it. And another common practice here, corporal punishment is common in this country. There are over 300 studies that show no benefits and many negative effects of corporal punishment. And it connects to later violent behaviors, and 68 countries prohibit corporal punishment. So our harmful American early life experiences are perpetuated by false beliefs. We continue to value the intellect over the emotions.
That's pretty fascinating. Okay, so one of the solutions you mentioned was the physical contact. So, how can students who are listening right now begin to heal from past emotional wounds or internalized patterns that might be holding them back? Is there anything other than just that physical contact that you talked about?
And the question is, how can students begin to heal?
Yes.
Okay, sure. Well, they can do what I did, uh, which is body psychotherapy, which is also referred to as breath work or somatic therapy. And this type of therapy facilitates emotional release of early traumas stored in the body. And this results in more sensitivity to our feelings and empathy. Now, it doesn't happen overnight. It can take, maybe estimating a number of months here for this therapy to do what it needs to do on helping us heal. But I invite students to learn about these therapies online and then to seek out local practitioners.
Okay, that's good advice. I like that. Now, I'm worried about college campuses because I don't see the empathy that I would like to see ultimately. So, how can students build more empathetic communities on a college campus, especially in a time like now where we have such division and disconnection within the student body?
Okay, I got a few ideas about this. First, I would suggest organize meetings for students to discuss empathy and related topics. Create a to-do list for students to take action about improving empathy. Consider and share these ideas. One, we need to pay more attention to the commonplace instead of the unusual. Two, we are wise to trust our intuition more and experts less. Three, we pay a high price for silence and denial. Four, courage in speaking out is contagious. Five, our reluctance to accept our power is connected to our reluctance to accept responsibility. Six, progress depends on our accepting responsibility. Seven, for people to change, it helps if they feel loved and respected by the people who offer them change. Eight, learning new information, perspectives, and solutions depends on our feeling good about ourselves and the person informing us. Nine, when your message is love rather than confrontation, you recognize that changing others likely means changing yourself. 10, let's use this opportunity to lead with love.
All right, I like that. Very good. That's a very complete answer. I love it. Now, obviously, a lot of this starts at youth. You talked about the trauma as a baby, as an infant, etc. How can we improve the welfare of infants, of children, and also just society in general?
Ask yourself which personal or social problem is most disturbing to you. Decide to take a step to help prevent it. My book offers various options. For example, high rates of unintended pregnancies, which in this country are at 38%, are a serious problem. Unwanted infants are unlikely to have a secure bond with the mother and more likely to have unmet needs and traumas. Let's advocate for schools to teach young people improved sex education, including various methods of contraception, the benefits of midwives and home birth, and natural early child care. Also, contact news services and share what you learn on social media. Use my information to support family and friends who may have future children to make better childcare choices.
Very good. I'm concerned about our quality of life here in the United States. Is there anything that culture can do to support improving our quality of life?
Certainly, 59% of new American mothers return to work. 45% work full-time. Obviously, this disrupts the mother-infant relationship. Let's improve American maternity leave policy. It is by far the worst of any developed country in the world. Our national policy provides 12 weeks of unpaid maternity leave, compared to European countries with 1 year of paid maternity leave. Let's also improve access to abortion. As I said, an unwanted child is less likely to receive proper loving care from the mother. Contact your local, state, and federal representatives about these issues. Also ask others to contact their representatives. Improving our care of children is a fundamental common interest. It can enhance the quality of life for individuals, families, and society, and help us return to our true, interconnected, loving nature.
Hmm. Yeah, I appreciate that perspective. You're certainly right that other countries have a very different outlook on time off for moms and their children, especially in that first year, that really critical time. Um, so, if students take away just one insight from this conversation or perhaps from your book, it's called The Empathy Evolution, what should that one insight be?
Well, I would say a day of prevention is worth years of treatment, and do your best to prevent early traumas.
Okay, I think that's definitely wise words there, no question about it. Now, what I like good food. That's for me my weakness. So the next time I find myself in the Boston area, where should we go for a great bite to eat?
Okay, so for Chinese food, I would try the Q, and then there's the Boston Sail Loft for American food,
Mhm.
and Legal Seafoods for guess what kind.
Seafood on the water.
And for Italian, I would suggest Mama Maria.
Very good. Excellent choices. So I've been to a couple of them. Some of them I haven't, so I'm going to go and check that out the next time that I head to Boston. That's fantastic. All right. So where can our listeners go in order to learn more about your work, more about the book that you published? It's called The Empathy Evolution, and how to cultivate empathy in their own lives.
Okay, so first I would suggest visiting my website, which is ronaldgoldmanphd.com. And it includes videos and blogs. So there's plenty of information on there, including information on how to get my book, the full title and subtitle, The Empathy Evolution, Preventing Violence, Racism, Political Corruption, and Mental Illness by Creating More Caring People. And it is available on Amazon.com. And here, just add a little bit here, uh, from a Roman philosopher who said, "It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that things are difficult." One more quote here. "We take care of the future best by taking care of the present now." Okay.
Very nice. Excellent quotes. I love that. I'm never one to shy away from difficult problems, so I appreciate the fact that you're willing to really confront these problems head on and offer up some solutions. I think that's really what we're all looking for. So I appreciate the work that you've done on the book. I appreciate the work that you've done here on this interview. And thank you so much. The website, again, of course, is ronaldgoldmanphd.com. Go and check out the website and go and pick up his book on Amazon. It's called The Empathy Evolution, Preventing Violence, Racism, Political Corruption, and Mental Illness by Creating More Caring People. Thank you so much, Dr. Goldman. We appreciate it. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you very much for inviting me. I enjoyed it.
All right. And to our listeners, if you enjoyed Dr. Goldman's talk, I want you to like it and I want you to share it with other college students that need to hear his words. Thanks so much for being with us. We'll see you on the next episode of the Fraternity Foodie Podcast. Bye for now.